Love Will Set Me Free by the Nohashtagpoet. I've been trapped in this life for so very long. About 7,000 years ago, I dwelt in a cave, Western Asia, to the banks of the Yellow River. The Neolithic revolution brought us agriculture. I knew no written word, but I took the ash and blackened soot from a fire. I drew crudely on cave walls, outlining my hand, penciling in herds on the plains. That was the first expression of my soul. Not long after I left my mark, I died. In those days, nobody knew of disease, and so I slept. Time passed rather eventfully after that. Things changed fast. 6,000 years ago, I found myself on the banks of two rivers, between the Tigris and Euphrates, the Cimmerian and Mesopotamia. I lived a lifetime admiring the stars as I worked my trade, a stonemason, sadly crushed beneath a massive block of limestone. I remember building up rather than tearing down, as civilization was born amongst the hands of so many. Again, I slept for a time. 5,000 years ago, I found myself on the banks of yet another river. The mighty Nile Delta was my home. I was a warrior, and I fought to unify my home in Egypt. I was cut low by my kinsmen and left amongst the sands. Like an hourglass, it poured over my body. And again, I slept. 4,000 years ago, I was a merchant in gold and ivory. I moved along trade routes within the kingdom of Kush. Fairly well-to-do, I lived a lavish life and developed a love of coin. But sadly cut down in my prime. Thieves and murderers lay in wait and overtook my caravan, robbed of all my fine linens, gold, tusks of ivory, and spices immeasurable. They stripped me. Pierced between two ribs, they left me for dead, drowned in my own blood. Again, tragedy brought me a long sleep. 3,000 years ago, I was a Mycenaean, a Grecian philosopher. We shared ideologies in mathematics, geometry, and mysteries with all who would listen. The glory days of the written word, of architecture and the arts. I learned the art of poetry, though the extent of my painting lay upon ancient cave walls. I grew old, an aged man lying within the mosaic tiles of my home. There I begot children, and they were all around me as I lay on my deathbed. Again, a deep sleep fell upon me. 2,000 years ago, I was a Roman. I built roads following in the footsteps of the great army. The further they conquered, the further we built. Roads in every direction, bricks and concrete and sand were my life. But sadly, I fell victim to the smallest of things. A bite from a mosquito and a fever run amok found me hemorrhagic. I died painfully in my own blood. And again, sleep. 1,000 years ago, I was an Englishman, a knight with honor, a chivalrous Christian man. But again, I fought to my death, this time in a far-off land. The Holy Land, they called it. And with a feverish desire to control this small swath of land, we crusaded. We fought for all of Christendom. I was laid low by the blade of an Ottoman man, his curved blade spilling my bowel upon the sands. And I slept. 41 years ago, I was born in the land of the free. In the whole of every previous existence, I knew nothing but aristocracy, kings and queens, princes and princesses. One man held in esteem while all others were beneath his heel. But sadly, I was given the same brain as all my previous times walking this earth. All my previous incarnations came together in a melting pot called mental illness. I hunt and I kill so I may eat. I build with stone and wood so that I may live in relative comfort. I fight with my kinsmen over issues that are trivial at best, though willing to die for ideals. Embedded in my soul is a lust for the dollar, ever the capitalist. I write poetry that pours from my soul and philosophize about what could be. I live a life never fearing travel, never afraid of the road ahead, while paving the way for any who wish to follow. Romanticized thoughts fill my mind, but still hold no qualms about spilling innocent blood. The collective curse of so many lives converging, all bringing me to this point in time, a small piece of each still living within. The hunter in me still chases my prey, though it changes its face. I do my best to build up, but now this mason's hands only seem to destroy. Sometimes it seems as though I find myself arguing for argument's sake, while my lust for gold always makes that which glitters catch my wandering eye, whilst the poet in me cries on pages weeping through the ink of a pen, as the philosopher asks why I've been handed such a curse, wondering if this is all a test, keeping my eye on the road ahead while never forgetting where I came from. Though it be romanticized in my mind, I've spilled my share of innocent blood. But here in this time, I found that which I've searched out for thousands of years, though I never knew its name. Here in this time, I found you. I do not think my soul will return to this place, for I have found my counterpart in you. And upon my deathbed, for the 8th time, I shall see the sunset on the horizon one last time, before finally stepping into the peace of the afterlife, where I will wait for you to join me, that I may know all that has been missing through my many thousands of years.